Attention, all curious minds, innovators, and trendsetters. It's time to pause, lean in, and get ready for an extraordinary journey as we dive deep into the fascinating realms of life, technology, entertainment, and business. Let's explore, learn, and grow together. Brace yourselves, for the next thrilling episodes of Hipther Talks is about to take off. Counting down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here we go.
Hi everyone, Zoltan here. We're back again this week after a short 2-week break in August. We all need to recharge, of course. So now we're back with full steam ahead, and we are now in the fintech sphere, especially talking about revolutionizing financial inclusion. And we are today talking with Richard Mifsud, CEO at Xprizo. Richard, I hopefully pronounced the company correctly, right?
Yeah, you did. Thank you very much. Yes, Xprizo.
All right. So as a tradition here, we always ask our guest to share a few words about himself in his own words and, of course, about his company. So, Richard.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity, first of all, to talk about our company and myself and what we're trying to achieve here. I'm Richard. I've been in the fintech industry for several years now, and in the iGaming industry before that for like 20 years. So my background is technology. I'm a software developer by profession back 23 years ago. And that evolved into building several tech projects from iGaming projects to fintech projects to system software, etc., etc. I've seen this gap in the market and also a possibility to help a lot of people with financial inclusion, and we started this project a couple of years ago, and now here we are.
All right. So I know your name from the iGaming industry, and definitely many people do. And you have an extensive background in both iGaming and fintech.
Yeah.
You also, like you mentioned, held several executive roles throughout your career. So what inspired you to transition into founding Xprizo, and what problems does it specifically aim to solve? Especially talk about this financial inclusion.
Yes. I mean, what inspired me was that over the years, I think about 10 or 12 years ago, I started to firsthand experience emerging markets, especially Africa. That's where it started. But I've also ran projects in Southeast Asia and in Latin America. And I was realizing a very common and similar demographic of these people, right? So the bottom tier of society, especially the poor people, just to be very blunt, remain poor. One of the reasons why these people remain poor is lack of financial inclusion or exclusion completely. And this is created because the one size fits all of the Western world of how we do banking and so on left these people completely cut off, right? And unfortunately, we people in the West, and I say we because I'm obviously coming from the West myself, we are okay with going to sleep at night and knowing that we're leaving millions of people, if not billions of people, I would say, completely financially excluded. And when you just look at it in that way, maybe it doesn't impact enough. But when you realize that when you are excluded financially and you don't have very simple debit card, very simple credit card, very simple banking that we consider to be obvious and normal, you cannot do your basics. Like when I say do your basics, I mean, for me and you, we can just go buy a T-shirt from one of these e-commerce sites, next day or even today, it arrives in my doorstep, right? These people cannot even think about doing something like that. I mean, they can't just go somewhere and book a flight. They can't go and buy anything. So this would mean that for millions of people, they can only buy stuff and pay people within their community, because they are either paying in cash or they are either using their local mobile monies or their local financial ecosystems, which is disconnected from the outer world, right? Now that's the first thing. So I think that's the main why of Xprizo and the main why I created that. Now, from a business perspective, for someone like me that operated different businesses in these same emerging markets, we faced business challenges, right? Which means I had employees on the ground in different African countries, for instance. I couldn't pay their salaries because when you're sending money from a European bank account, from any bank account to a bank in Africa, your transactions get blocked. So like they get stopped, they get returned, you can't pay people, etc., etc. And obviously vice versa. So once you have a running business over there, you're making profit over there because it's a very good market also. If you want to get paid out of Africa, you want to get paid out of Southeast Asia, you want to get paid out of Latin America, you're going to face a lot of challenges. You pass through the banking system, the bank will be asking you a million questions. The SWIFT system will take you a week, 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, and then they lose the money in transition, etc., etc. So you'll end up nearly discouraged to do business in emerging markets simply because the banking system is, for the lack of a better word, I don't know, it's letting people down, right? So when I looked at it, and I spent years looking at this, right, before I decided to go for this venture. When you look at it, there is a humanitarian perspective, and there's also a business gap, which we're trying to basically fill, right? We proved the concept. We proved the concept that it works, and now we're obviously getting into improving this concept that we're trying to tackle.
All right, this is some noble stuff right there. Congratulations, and
thank you. We'll do our best.
I know that Xprizo's mission focuses on providing financial services for these unserviced communities. So could you walk us through how your platform is designed to address this financial exclusion that are faced in these communities? Because it's very interesting that you mentioned that people in the West go to sleep knowing that in the East people don't have access to such. We actually, I am in Eastern Europe now, and I can tell you, we go to sleep the same way, knowing people that in our country have this problem.
Yes.
And actually, where I live, there's across like 500 meters a community of gypsies, outcasts basically of community, who are in the same situation as you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's actually something we looked at, in fact, but it complicates itself even more because when you have excluded people within a very highly regulated area, such as the European Union, right, which is very highly regulated, it complicates matter even further because you might be in a situation where you want to help these people, you would have the technology to help these people, you might have the willingness to help these people, but the way regulation is set up in the European Union might not even let you help these people, right? So that's a step even worse, which I'm not even looking at tackling at the moment. I would love to. I think we have the capability to help these people, but at the moment we're not let's say focusing enough to tackle that. We're starting with the emerging market. And going to your original question, like how does Xprizo work and how we help people and how we can do this. So basically, it's pretty simple, I would say, when you think about it, because instead of going to the markets and to these people with a Western products, like and the Western approach and the Western mentality, where we know it all and we tell you how to do it, we actually did it the other way around. So we went on the ground. I have personally walked several slums of this world, and I literally spoken to women, to children, to men, and like, how do you buy your bread every day? How do you buy your milk every day? How you pay your school fees, etc. So we built a product from the ground up, from the emerging markets up to where it is today, rather than going there and telling them. So that means that they say, okay, we use cash, or we use M-Pesa in Kenya as a mobile money. We use Pix in Brazil. We use GCash in the Philippines. So it's okay, for this product to work, we need to integrate those core features. So and the other thing is you have to keep in mind, they are using very likely cheap smartphones, right? And on a very bad internet. right? So you need a very light product, a very simple product, and a product that is using the technologies and the methods that they are used to. So Xprizo is a very simple 1, 2, 3 click product, and you arrive where you want to arrive, where we have integrated mobile money providers. We have trained and signed up thousands of cash points on the ground. So if you look at Kenya, for example, we have, I don't know, I think closer to 1,200 cash agents, right? We covered Kenya completely with cash agents. Then we have M-Pesa integration. So someone could top up his Xprizo with M-Pesa, exit on cash, etc. We're doing the same thing in other African territories. We have a setup in the GCC, in the UAE, in Dubai, and Abu Dhabi, and so on. And we're setting up Southeast Asia region. So this means that when you want to pay P2P from Africa to Dubai, from Dubai to Philippines, from Philippines to Thailand, you are on one same network, giving the opportunity to transact between each other directly and instantly. Just keep in mind, for example, someone that is today living in Dubai and is a Filipino, for example, right? So most of the Filipinos and Indians and the Africans and so on are sending money back to their families, right? That movement is today costing them a lot of money and is taking a lot of time to arrive. So with facilitating a direct connection between these communities, we're giving them a better service and a cheaper service, right? So we're really helping the communities to uplift these communities with our product. Okay, I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel here. So what we've done is we've looked at what's best in other fintech products, even some products which are coming from the Far East and so on. We've seen what works. We analyze what works even in Europe, in US, and so on, and put it in one very simple product. So that's how Xprizo works, basically.
All right. So you also worked with regulators worldwide in the iGaming sector.
Absolutely.
And like you mentioned, from the UK to Kenya and Nigeria. So how has that experience informed your approach to navigating regulatory landscapes in these emerging markets with Xprizo?
Yeah, correct. That's actually a very good question, because back in my gaming days, as you know, I've worked with Malta Gaming Authority, UK GC, with the Kenya regulator, with the Nigeria Lottery Board, etc., which gave me a very good perspective and understanding how regulatory frameworks work, right? So the way we are approaching these markets, and also from this experience, we are working a bit in a franchise way, right? So we're always finding local partners that either have a license or are getting a license. So we're always the technology provider and then working with local licensed entities. And this was influenced from my experience working with regulators, because it's always best to deal with regulators when they are your native people, right? So if I'm operating in Kenya, it's always better to have a Kenyan person, a Kenyan company dealing with its sales regulator. If you're doing this in the Philippines, same thing. In Laos, the same thing. In Thailand, same thing, etc., because the mutual understanding that one can have with his own people is very much different than a foreigner coming in and trying to do something. One has to remember that these communities over hundreds of years has been exploited by the West, right? And the last thing a regulator wants to see, or even a local person wants to see, is a foreigner coming in and trying to take over something, right? So the way we do it, we always work with the local people, including our employees, by the way. I mean, if I operated in Kenya, I have a full team in Kenya, which is Kenyans, right? I wanted to put my money where my mouth is. So we have our own local company over there. We employed local people. We have a very, very diverse company, by the way. So we employ, I think now, at least, 12 different nationalities, sitting in different countries, any different skin color you can imagine, right? Women, men, like full diverse company. And this is exactly that, because I mean, if we're operating in these countries, I always want to have that local flair to the company, that local feeling, like of the company. And this goes even within the regulation itself, right? I mean, if I'm speaking to the regulator, and I'm going with my attorney of that country, it will be a Kenyan person if I'm dealing with the Kenyan regulator. If I'm dealing with the Ugandan regulator, which we're doing right now, I go with a Ugandan lawyer and we set up a Ugandan company employing Ugandan people, making agreement with Ugandan companies. So I believe in communities, and I believe with working with people, right? I mean, if we try and go there and take it all for one company, one person, all foreigners, it will not work. So every time we go into a country, we show the people on the ground, we show the regulator, show the government, we're here to work with you, and together we can achieve what we wanted to achieve, right? So that's how we approach things.
All right. A couple of years ago, I remember we did a meetup with somebody from Africa who said the same thing. If you want to do business in Africa, you better do it locally and strive to get the company going for that region, not just get rich coming out of that. So that's very nice of you, and congrats for that as well. And now let's also touch base on the trending buzzwords and buzz technology, blockchain, AI, which has become, we can call them buzzwords in the recent years. And how are these technologies integrated into Xprizo's ecosystem? And what real world impact do they have on the financial lives of those in these underserved communities that you cater for?
Sure. I mean, we're a pure fintech company, right? Fintech means financial technology, right? Which is one of these famous buzzwords here. I mean, we're building technology in the financial industry, so we are a fintech company. We're looking at blockchain part in a very practical way, primarily because the goal is that we will expose a truncated version of each and every transaction on the platform on a blockchain. We're actually right now in the process of doing this, and we're doing it for pure transparency, right? So what we want to do, I mean, one of our core values, by the way, of the company is transparency. So I want to be transparent within the company and out of the company, right? We want to know, we want people to trust us. We're dealing with people's money, so we need to be as transparent as possible here. So we're using blockchain for that matter. So what we're doing is, we will be exposing each and every transaction that goes through our system on a public blockchain. So this would mean that anyone that wants to audit us, scrutiny us, and so on, call any transaction that went out there, and you will find it, the correspondent transaction on the blockchain. So that's the way we're using it. Obviously, we will be, we're already doing tests of using crypto as our part of our backbone to move funds from one place to another. I think it's much more efficient than any bank on earth, even though banks are improving, but still, obviously, crypto is a way more efficient, way more traceable way of doing things. So we're looking at that also from a blockchain point of view. From an AI point of view, we have some AI models which we are working with and we're integrating with, primarily on our support side of things. So basically, we're looking at obviously automating several areas in our support and so on, using AI for that. We have started lately looking at using AI even in transaction monitoring and fraud prevention and so on. I can't really say that we are too deep delved into that as yet, but the more we go, the more we will be using AI for that as well. So some of our transaction monitoring and abuse and fraud prevention and so on will be using AI modules in the coming months.
All right. So you guys recently partnered with 4Bet now, right?
Yes.
And this is to power the growth in Kenya. So could you share more about this partnership and the significance of expanding into this Kenyan market?
Yeah, I mean, in Kenya now we have, I think, about 120 local merchants which are live, first of all, on the ground. So we have a very nice mix, I would say, of merchants, because I don't want to give the impression that we are an iGaming fintech product, because we're not, right? We're a very, very diverse fintech company. We have universities which are using us, schools which are using us, mobile phone shops, supermarkets, fuel stations, etc., etc. But also we do cater for the licensed gaming market as well. So 4Bet now came around. They are a licensed entity in Kenya. So they have also some shops. They partnered with several bars also to promote their system. They were very willing to use Xprizo practically exclusively for all their payments. And I think this was a big stamp of trust for us, because when you have such a serious company coming into such a market, making a huge investment, going for license, building a team, setting up shops, etc., and showing the trust in our product to use us primarily, let's say, on all their payments. We're very happy with this collaboration. We've already did several cross marketing promotions on the ground. We've sent even our team to their shops to help user activation, and I must say it looks like it's been very successful, because we had several users and new users coming in through these campaigns, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with this. They're not the first, and it will not be the last, obviously, because obviously the more we go, thankfully, the response from the market has been really kind to us, and it looks like it's more people are coming. I think we have, I don't know, more than 50 something or nearly 60 merchants soon going live in different countries around the world, including in Kenya. But yes, I think Phobet now was one of the pilots where we did collaboration, which is really close to them, with cross promotions, etc.
All right. So yeah, sorry, I need to cut this. I just have to add something. Look at this chair. It has these orange colors. There is a similar podcast online. We're not sponsored, by the way, by the same company. This is an ordinary yellow and black chair, because I had this question from our audience several times. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Richard, getting back to our point. So looking at your global experience, and you have it across Africa, Asia, Latin America, you must probably seen challenges. So what are these unique challenges and opportunities that you have encountered when trying to introduce fintech solution in these emerging markets? Because like you said, fintech is among those buzzwords, but it has been around for many years. It's totally different thing in terms of compliance and everything.
Yes. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. The thing is you always need localization, right? I think that's the trickiest, and cultures are the most challenging, because how you deal with someone coming from Africa will be completely different of how you deal with someone coming from Asia. Even so, like even within there are differences, right? If you're dealing with someone coming from the West Africa, it's different how you deal with someone coming from East Africa or from South Africa. Like, I mean, we say Africa or we say Asia, but these are huge places. Right? I mean, to cross Africa from one side to another, it's like crossing from Malta all the way to Sweden, or even more, right? So it's
not to mention culture, population.
Correct. Actually, population is one other thing which one needs to keep in mind, because if you look at, I mean, countries like Nigeria, it's 200 million people, right? I mean, Kenya, 47 or 48 million people. So each and every time you touch an African country or an Asian country, you're dealing with many millions, right? So I think culture is the biggest challenge, because even within same cultures, you have differences, right? I mean, if you look at even the way people talk, the language itself, the way they express themselves, you always need very strong localization. So you need to forget about the one-size-fits-all concept, because that doesn't work. Right. I mean, over the years, many companies failed because of that. I've seen this even when I was a simple provider of technology back in the day. Right. If you try to launch something in Europe or launch something in Kenya and then try to do the same in Nigeria and so on, it doesn't work. So you need to understand and truly understand the local, work with the locals, speak to the locals, do testing and adjust and keep adjusting as you go along. Because in these communities, one thing is that's constant is change, right? They are evolving so quickly that we wouldn't even realize how fast these communities change. Let me give you one example. I've experienced kids in Africa that never seen or touched a mouse or a keyboard. So they went from nothingness to touchscreen, right? If you go with a normal PC, they will just see and like, what's this? But then you go with an iPad, or you go with a tablet, or you go with a phone, and they'll use it like me and you, right? So the fastness of the growth and of the learning curve and the constant change in these countries is exceptional, right? I mean, they're even faster than us to get onto things, and they've lived a life which is a very difficult life, which means you're hustling all the time, every day, right? You're hustling to eat in these places, so you'll need to learn. So you've been brought up. So your grandfather was like that. Your dad is like that. You're probably like that as well. Like if you don't hustle, you don't eat. For us, we take things very for granted, very normal. Mama's there, or my food is always on the table. Whatever happens, I'm safe. With these guys, whatever happens, you're not safe, right? If you don't hustle, you don't eat. You have nowhere to sleep. So it's a very different kind of lifestyle, I would say.
Yeah, not to mention then just like the world hitting you with the fintech solution that you don't know what's it about.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So as a serial entrepreneur, you have a track record of building successful companies, and we followed your career. And could you maybe just help our audience with some key lessons you have learned about scaling businesses in diverse and challenging environments, and especially sectors like the dynamic as fintech and iGaming, because these are like changing from day to day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one needs to be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? So you're basically living in a space where your only constant is change, because you're on the edge of anything that you can think about, right? So you're on the edge of regulation, you're on the edge of technology, and then when you're doing it in emerging markets, even the elements are against you, right? Your internet, your even driving on the road can be a challenge. So you have different cultures, different things. So the only way is to be living in a space which is living on the edge of everything, right? And some people can handle it, some people can't, right? So some people want to be, they have their nice office, they be there, they're making some money, go to their nice green holiday, see the kids every day and so on if you have kids. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, and especially if you want to do successful stuff in these countries, that's just a dream. It's not reality. I think being an entrepreneur and being an entrepreneur in these areas is hard as nails. That's the reality, right? It's much, much harder than anyone can think. I think it's way less glamorous than many people would think, right? So many people think being an entrepreneur is some kind of fairy tale. It's anything but, I would say. It's being prepared for sleepless nights. It's being prepared for financial challenges. It's being prepared that everything and everyone is against you. That's the reality. And I believe that if you don't have people that come against you and try to hit you hard and all that, then you're not working hard enough, right? You're not challenging people enough, because if you're just sitting pretty with no enemies, it means you're not pushing the envelope enough, right? It means that you're just sitting pretty, not really trying to make a change in the world, because change is very difficult on people, right? No one wants to change. Everyone wants to just be sitting comfortable. So I mean, that's my 2 cents on that, I would say.
Very great 2 cents, by the way. And yeah, for our audience, it's not all that bad. Sometimes there are ups and downs. There are times when everything is like very magical, but yeah, you need to embrace all these pain and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not prepared for that, you can't be prepared for the good times. I mean, the good times will arrive. If you what you focus on grows, right? But within that growth, it's very difficult until you get to the nice castle, right? So
if it was easy, everybody would do it, and it would be called football.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
All right. So We are now already in September, and like I told people, in January already, we blink once, we blink 2 times, we blink 3 times. It's the end of the year already. So let's look ahead, and then my final question for you is what's next for Xprizo? So are there any upcoming initiatives, partnerships, or expansions you're particularly excited about that align with your mission and for financial inclusion? Maybe something that you can officially share with us, not to just like.
Sure. No, I think our goal is to become or keep becoming a well-known like household name in the fintech space in these countries, right? So we will keep expanding in Africa. We will keep expanding in Asia, and from next year we will also start focusing very heavily in Latin America, I would say. So we will be launching officially our Filipino operation in the coming months. Also, we've made very strong inroads in other Southeast Asian markets such as Laos and Thailand. We will be launching these markets this year as well, for sure. And I mean, it's primarily a continuous growth from a technology perspective and a continuous geographical growth for at least the coming 2 years. And then we see what happens after that. So, yeah.
All right. Good times ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And thank you again for the opportunity. I mean,
No worries.
all our team are very appreciative of any help we can get.
We love stories like this, and our audience loves them too. And we wish you all the luck with everything, and keep strong and keep doing your thing. So thank you so much for your time, by the way, because I know it's very valuable. And thank you for our audience for sticking around. We will be back next week with more crazy stuff. Take good care, everyone. Thank you, Richard.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everybody.
And that's a wrap for this section of Hipther Talks. Thank you for being a part of our journey today. Don't forget to tune in next week for more insights and discussions. Stay connected with us on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and more. Until then, keep exploring and keep growing. We'll see you next time.